When it comes to superlatives in the business of thoroughbred horse racing and the broadcast thereof, there can be absolutely no doubt that the Investec Derby team, situated at Epsom, headed up by South African broadcaster Dieter Wohlberg, reigns supreme. It truly is a broadcast out of the ordinary. And it is at this juncture that we need to tell you that the inaugural running of the Investec Derby back in 2009 was won by a son of Galileo called See the Stars under Mick Kinane. This year the event has come full circle, and his son, a horse called Marzan, trained by Dermot Weld and ridden by Pat Smullen, was the victor of the 2016 Investec Derby. So let's take you to Investec Derby territory at Epsom Downs right now. It was on this very rostrum that Her Majesty the Queen Elizabeth II presented the winning trophy to the Investec Derby winner of 2016. And if you take a look up there, and that's where we're going to go right now to tell you the story of the 2016 Investec Derby. I'm currently standing on the balcony here at Epsom Downs, which is normally occupied by Claire Balding's Channel 4, who host the world's most famous thoroughbred horse race. And of course, it is the richest race in England, worth a whopping 1.325 million British pounds. It was won in convincing style by a horse called Harzand, of course, is trained by Dermot Weld, one of the most courageous and well-travelled trainers on the planet, which meant that on the balcony directly below us, Her Majesty the Queen, celebrating her 90th birthday, was able to present this magnificent trophy to the owners and the connections of Harzand. Now, the interesting thing about Harzand is that just a few hours before the running of the Investec Derby, he was standing in an adjoining box with his foot in a bucket of ice after having spread a plate on the way to the races. And it was touch and go as to whether he would run. Dermot Weld is reported to have said there's a 60-40 chance of him running, and his instructions to Pat Smullen were, get to the start, trot him around, walk him around, tell us what you feel, and if you're not in any way happy, bring him home safely. And of course, the fairy story transpired in the race that every self-respecting trainer, owner, breeder wants to win. It's now my great pleasure to interview the chairman of the Epsom Racecourse, Mr. Anthony Kane. He's been to South Africa on many occasions, and we've chatted to him before, but it's just wonderful to see the security that's developed between Investec and this particular great historic club in respect of the greatest flat race on the planet.
Well, it's been a huge honour working with you, because you've done so much for us, and hopefully it's mutually, and we've all become good friends and everything else. And I think the team led by Raymond and everything has done wonders for the Derby in the 2 days. And hopefully we've listened and we've all learnt from each other and keep on going onwards and upwards.
The wonderful thing about life at the moment is Google. You can go onto any channel and see all these interviews that have been conducted by all these marketing gurus. But the one thing Raymond always says is respect for the heritage and the history of this event, which is no greater on any other race.
No, but you've respected that, but you've also helped us take it forward into the modern age as well. I mean, the history is part of it, and it's a combination of everything which has been so successful.
Let's take you to the start now and have a look at the running of the 2016 Investec Derby, after which we'll go back a day and see Minding's smashing victory in the Investec Oaks, of course ridden by Ryan Moore and trained by Aidan O'Brien. Two champagne performances that are the hallmark of thoroughbred horse racing.
Field of 16 for the handlers to shut away, and partly by virtue of the 4 supplemented horses at £75,000 apiece. So the field of 16 are all set, all in, and they're off. So the field leaves the stalls for the Investec Derby of 2016. Port Douglas is hurried up to the lead, with Deauville also racing handily and also moving forward in the early stages. Shogun, Ulysses up towards the inside as well as they make their way through the first furlong, with Port Douglas just taking them along. Sart, who's racing a little keenly as Port Douglas now crosses over and makes his way towards the running rail. In 4th place is Shogun, just ahead of Moonlight Music, who's towards the inside at at the moment. Moonlight Magic sitting in about 5th place. US Army Ranger is given time towards the rear of the field in company with Wings of Desire, and having jumped from the outside stall, Red Verdon has been given time as well, crossing right behind the field along with Humphrey Bogart is at the rear of the field. As now the field begin that trademark descent towards Tattenham Corner, and there is no hanging about for Port Douglas out in front. He has gone 5 or 6 lengths clear. In 2nd place, Cloth of Stars. Massart Biodynamic moves up on the outside. Then behind these we have Idaho, just pushed along to give chase is Moonlight Magic. At this stage across the stars with Harzand, Algometer comes next with Wings of Desire. US Army Rangers still in no hurry, and right at the back of the field is Red Verdon. Port Douglas leads the turn for home, but the pack are right at his heels. Cloth of Stars poised to have first crack. Then Massart, pulling out is Idaho. Harzand comes next. Pull towards the outside, Wings of Desire, US Army Ranger. Red Verdon getting a nice seam right up the inside rail. Port Douglas is taken on by Cloth of Stars. Now joining in down the outside is Idaho. Harzand comes next. Red Verdon ran out of room on the inside. Right down the outside, Wings of Desire and US Army Ranger. Idaho strike cab and Harzand are the first to go for home. US Army Ranger is now in full cry towards the outside. They're into the final furlong. Harzand, US Army Ranger have got to the leader's girth, but has still got to get by. As Harzand is pulling out more, and it's Harzand in the colours of the Aga Khan who has won the Investec Derby for Pat Smullen at Derby Wells. US Army Ranger second, Idaho in third in a clean sweep for Ireland. In 4th place, Wings of Desire, Humphrey Bogart, Red Verdon, Algometer and Cloth of Stars.
Priceless moments for the Aga Khan, for Dermot Weld and for Pat Smullen, as well as all the connections of this beautiful son of See the Stars. Of course, See the Stars being the inaugural winner of the Investec Derby back in 2009. So you could easily say that the race has gone full circle as Bernard Cantor stands on the rostrum, in awe and filled with pride. We had an opportunity to catch up with passionate horse racing fan, owner, breeder, Brian Finch, who was as close to the action as you can get.
Andrew, an amazing experience. I walked down with Bernard as I tend to do, and walked into the parade ring, and it was full but empty. Obviously a few official photographers, and you just sense that this was quite a special occasion. Clearly the Aga Khan winning it, and he was ecstatic. You could see the smile on his face, the whole team. And then Her Majesty walked in with Prince Philip. And I know for Bernard it was a special occasion. He said to me yesterday, I find it hard to believe that this little South African company is here sponsoring the greatest flat race in the world. And I smiled at Bernard and said, I don't think it's a little company. I think Investec's a lot bigger than that. But it was a proud moment for him today, and you could see that on his face as he stood up there, received her, and then received the Aga Khan, and just watched Investec contribute to yet another history-making event. It was fabulous, and I feel very privileged to have been there.
You know, I was standing next to John McCrarick, and he's been in more race meetings than I've been alive, and he said to me, this is one of those seminal moments for Investec where every boardroom that they have anywhere in the world will have that picture in it.
I certainly think so, and I hope the official photographs are a lot better than the ones I took, because I was in awe watching it all happen in front of me. It was also quite interesting to hear Her Majesty talking to the Aga Khan, and they talk for a very long time. You know, they share a wonderful passion for the racehorse, breeding and pedigree. And then she asked Dermot Weld, is this your first? And he said, yes, ma'am, it's my first. So you could feel his pride. Pat Smullen as well, yes, ma'am, it's my first. So it was just wonderful to feel the whole thing. And I think Investec can feel very proud of what they've done and brought to the party. It's been a great, great, great 2 days. It's a very special occasion, I think.
It's not a sport only for kings, queens, lords and ladies. It's a sport for everyone. Yes, it's aspirational for somebody to own a horse to compete against the Queen, and today we had the Aga Khan win the Derby, which was also most appropriate. It's about creating that unique and very special event that I think we need to work on and learn from what Investec has done here in the UK.
I think it's fair to say that it's an extremely expensive sport to participate in here in the UK. In South Africa, much more affordable. But if you look out over here at this crowd, it's an all-encompassing crowd. You've got the people that have come here for free on the Downs because of the common property. You've got people that have paid up to £125 to be here, and yet they're all having a whale of a time.
That's why we should be doing the same in South Africa. It happens to be to own a horse is not a profitable exercise for 99% of the people. It's more difficult to get previously disadvantaged people to become owners of horses because they will lose money, the vast majority of them. That doesn't mean that the rest of the sport is not for them. And to the extent that they would like to participate, that's great as well. As long as we don't sell them on the basis that there's a pot of gold somewhere at the end of a rainbow, which there isn't. It's about the passion for equine excellence, and that's what brings people like the Queen and the Aga Khan to the sport.
Welcome back to Epsom Downs. It's one of those harsh realities of life that a man called Gary Player is arguably more famous in America than he is in his homeland, and the same might well be said of Michael Roberts, who's just a living legend when he comes to the United Kingdom, always enormously respected in South Africa, but he was victorious back in 1993 on a filly trained by Andre Fabre, owned by Sheikh Mohammed, a filly called Intrepidity. Michael, great of you to give up some of your time and come down from the Investec box. How are you enjoying today?
Very nice. We've had a nice lunch and it's been a great day, good racing, close finishes, and everybody's very happy.
I'm sure that when you get on the plane and you go back to South Africa, you already start thinking about next year. Such must be the fondness of this territory that you broke the back of to become the champion jockey of England.
Yes, it's always nice to be back here, and I must say, go back with a heavy heart, especially after being down to Newmarket and go around to see my old friends there and some of the trainers I rode for, and visit some of the jocks, and happy memories.
As far as this year's race is concerned, obviously everybody knows that Minding is the best filly in the race. She might not stay the best of the race, but how have you seen it as a jockey that has won the race?
Well, just looking around, and I had to look at a pre-parade, and she's outstanding filly, and had a chat to Ryan Moore. He thinks she's quite special, so she'll take all the beating, I think.
I was watching a fantastic program this morning about her mother, Lily Langtree. The fact that the influence and stamina is not there, but the fact that she gets a mile so comfortably, and you look at the merit ratings of the other fillies, it's unlikely that anything's going to gallop her into the ground. Exactly.
This track, although it looks severe, it all depends what's happened in the first half of the race, because you climb that hill, and I'm sure Ryan will reserve her energy until you get to the top. And once you get to the top of the hill, about 6 furlongs out, you're freewheeling downhill, and I think he's the right pilot for her. He knows her. They won the Guineas well, and look, the ground is a bit sticky, and we've had some funny results here today, but there's class written all over it. If you see in the ring, you'll see what I mean.
And they're off and racing. So racing in the Oaks, and one of the first to show forward is Somehow, in company as well with the white cap of Seventh Heaven, Diamonds Pourboire, as Minding settles at the rear of the field. So line abreast, they climb the first couple of furlongs. Somehow, so considerable more now than last time, is up with the leaders in company with Australian Queen, Turret Rocks and Diamonds Pourboire towards the inside, and the white cap of Seventh Heaven closest to the far side running rail, as they all now tack over towards the inside rail. First 3 furlongs of the contest see Somehow in front for Shamey Heffernan, who now tries to drop anchor, but Australian Queen on the outside will keep the leader honest. Turret Rocks racing in third in the green and blue on the inner of the white cap of Seventh Heaven. Diamonds Pourboire is in 5th place as Minding moves up to take 6th, just ahead of Architecture. Harley Queen already chased along at the rear of the field, and Skiffle is right at the back, but Somehow will lead the descent down towards Tapman Corner. From in second races Australian Queen. Putting out Seventh Heaven, up the inside goes Turret Rocks. Minding's white face amongst horses as Skiffle comes 4 wide. Minding just having to negotiate a passage, caught on heels there at a crucial stage, and Minding's had no luck at all. Turning into the straight, is shuffled back to last. Out in front, her stable companion Somehow, making the best of her way home. Skiffle in second, in third place Architecture. Now out in the clear, Minding is being pulled out to try and deliver a challenge. Back in 5th place is Harley Queen. They fan out with 2 furlongs to travel in the Oaks. Architecture has struck for home. Minding, despite being shuffled for last, is coming
This was a performance of extreme bravery and courage. Everything and anything that could possibly have gone wrong for the daughter of Galileo in the hands of Ryan Moore did just that. And she showed exactly why she's regarded as the best filly in Europe right now. Who knows? The world is her oyster. Well, it's been an absolutely incredible experience, as always. We've spoken to some amazing people, some hilarious interviews, some very insightful interviews. It has been my honour, my privilege with Vaughan Smith to have been at the 2016 Investec Derby. This is Andrew Bonn reporting from Epsom.